Well, gotta start cultivating corn today. This field didn't get sprayed because I broke the sprayer. So I'm gonna do it first, and then I'll come back and spray whatever comes back after I get done cultivating. But I was hoping to be able to wait to get on it with a cultivator till later this week, but Mother Nature kind of forced my hand. I got all that urea spread yesterday. We were supposed to get a bunch of rain last night. Well, guess what never happened? The system hit the tip of the lake and split, and it went north of us and it went south of us, and we didn't get squat. It sprinkled that little bit while I was spreading, and then it must have sprinkled a little bit really early this morning, right before I got up to go to work, because I went outside to start my truck. And the ground was wet, but the shadows of the trees were still dry and dusty, so it didn't rain a whole lot. But it must have been just enough to dissolve that urea, because I don't see any granules anymore. And it wouldn't have volatilized that fast, even with weather like this. There would have still been some granules left on top, so I think most of it got pushed in the ground, but just to be on the safe side, I want to cultivate it, so. The 1800's been kind of a star here lately. So let's see how much corn I can knock down. This is the field that got mudded in, and all things considering, I don't think it looks too bad. The hill here is a little thin, but that's normal. It always comes in thin like that, because no matter how dry it is when you're working, it always works up chunky. But the rest of it looks pretty darn good, considering the conditions that it had when I planted it. Really need to come out here and fix this waterway. All them ruts are actually there from the very first year I farmed this, and they're still there. I figured Mother Nature would have taken care of them for me, but it don't look like it. This is my first time cultivating with this tractor, so normally I do it with the 1600. So I don't know where to watch to make sure I'm running in the right spot. I really don't like having to cultivate right now. Not because I don't want to cultivate it, but because it's not very good for moisture conservation breaking the surface like this. That's why I was hoping to wait. We got more chances of rain this weekend, but just my luck, I won't cultivate, then the rain won't show up, and I'll lose all that nitrogen I just put on. So, it's one of them damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of things. Hopefully by this time next year we will have all the bugs worked out of the 1950T and it'll be all set up with saddle tanks, and this thing will be set up with 28 knives and nozzles. Then I can cultivate and put my nitrogen on all in one pass and not have to do the pass with the spreader. Sorry for turning my head so fast. Normally a cultivator's one of them tools where you just don't look backwards, because whenever you do, sure as shit you're going to turn the wheel a little bit and take out a row. But since I haven't cultivated with this tractor before, I just want to make sure I've got it in the right spot. And old Max, he had this cultivator set tight. It is right on the damn row, so one little mistake and you'll know it. But for the most part, even if you knock a little bit of corn back over, especially at this stage, as long as you don't whack it off, you just lay it over, it'll they'll normally stand right back up. Well, just finish that up. Cultivating is a little hard on the end rows, but it's worth it in the end. Makes a big difference on the way the corn looks. You get that crust busted up so some oxygen can get down there to the roots, and makes a big difference. And got some of the weed pressure knocked out, so that should reduce some of the moisture competition the corn had with the weeds. What the hell? And there is, surprisingly, still some moisture down there. I didn't figure on that, but it's still really freaking dusty. That's the first time since I've been cultivating corn that I've rolled dust while I'm doing it. Of course, this is also the first year that we haven't had rain issues, and I've actually been able to side dress at the right time. Last year, hell, the corn was almost that tall by the time I finally got to run over it. The year before that was about the same thing. So, let that sit for a week or so and let any weeds that are going to come back do so, and then hit it with a sprayer and knock the rest of them out. The other nice thing about a cultivator is it'll do stuff like this, where like that weed there's still attached. Well, it was still attached, but it was all probably started to pull out, so it probably ripped some of the root system off and laid it over and screwed the leaves up. So that cultivator will stress them things out enough that Roundup will just annihilate them. There won't be nothing left. However, I like spraying before I cultivate because it's easier to count rows before you go in and cultivate, because one, you can still see the tire tracks from the planter, and two, when you cultivate, it goes and makes all of your rows pretty much even on the end, so it's hard to count 4, 4, 4, or well, like you can still do it. Like here, you can tell this is a set of 4, and then that set of 4 starts a little bit back, but this is also getting into point rows, so it makes a difference. But right here, where the rows all came right out and butted up, it gets harder, because you may have a set of 4 that comes all the way out, and you may have a set of 4 that starts a little bit back, just depending on how fast I was on the draw, setting it or picking it up and setting it down. So it's easier to spray before you cultivate for that reason, but you get Roundup will have a much quicker, easier effect after you cultivate because the weeds have been stressed out. But for a field that got all mudded in, I don't think I'm doing too god awful bad. It's like I say, and from probably what you saw up there, right along the edge of that hill and right along the crest of it, it's a little But like I say, this field is always like that. That hill is not the best dirt. And actually, that hill is weird because I used to, when I was still farming with the two guys I used to hang out with, we had that field, which I really screwed up on that deal because I'm the one that got that field for us, and when we split up, I let them keep it, and I should have taken it because I got a field just on the other side of that property, and then I would have had that field and this field, and I would have had a little over 20 acres right here all in a row, but I digress. That hill continues through that fence row and across that field, and that hill is a wet spot all the way across through that field. I don't know, I think I've said in another video, I don't know how the heck I can always find fields that got wet spots in the high spots. Normally the wet spots are the low spots. But there also is a very distinct change in parent material from where I'm standing right here to the top of that hill, so that also makes a difference. So anyway, we got pretty decent, well, pretty decent for this year. It's 50% chance of rain tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll be cultivating or working on tractors, but I will get my GoPro charged up so next time I cultivate I can get some GoPro video, so it's not just staring down the hood. But shoot, that corn right there, it's, well, okay, not that corn right there, but that plant there will stand back up, that plant will stand back up. As long as the main whorl isn't hurt, normally it'll stand back up and come out or whatever. Plus, this right here is, yeah, this is where I turned out with the spreader too, so some of this is physically very, very run over. But anyway, hopefully we get some rain on this and something will happen. So I guess that does it for this one, and we will catch you guys on the next one.